Part 163. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1621. It's National Day, one of the major festivals since the founding of the People's Republic of China, so chicken and fish are naturally available. The live fish were kept in the water tank. Zhu Lei didn't want to kill them, so he stewed the chicken first. There were more people than there were chickens, so the chickens were picked out and put into the children's bowls. The adults ate some mushrooms, which tasted delicious. There were several other dishes on the table, all of which were vegetarian. The tofu stew was delicious, and Feng Qingxiu ate a lot. After lunch, the children went to school, leaving Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu free. Lu Zhang sent the guards and orderlies to the study to read and study. Finally, he got his wish and touched his wife's hair. He stood next to her and watched her draw. The grasshoppers on the paper were lifelike. After we finish painting, let's go out for a walk. What's it like being stuck at home all day? Feng Qingxiu thought it made sense and put down her painting brush. It's okay. I've been here for a year and I've been either busy with work or taking care of my family. I really didn't bother to visit the military camp in a serious way. The family compound and the military training camp area are separate, and despite her busy schedule, she goes there very rarely. Lu Zhang had long wanted to take her around, but as soon as he entered the camp, he heard the training slogans. The afternoon is usually the time to study the guiding ideology, but not all are like this, so there are still people sweating profusely on the training ground. Lu Zhang has added a lot of training content to the recruits, hoping to select some who have excellent physical fitness and are extremely good in certain aspects. Highly talented recruits enter the Special Forces unit for training, and those who fail are returned. The couple did not interfere with the soldiers' training and walked on the edge of the training ground. By the way, I seem to have forgotten to tell you something. Feng Qingxiu was stunned. What's the matter? Lu Zhang said without hesitation, my uncle's son is also among this year's recruits. He performed particularly well. He is a talent. I found out about it 2 days ago when I checked the information on outstanding recruits. He has 2 sons in his family, one is called Dabao and the other is called Erbao. Which one is he? Feng Qingxiu disliked those 2 pairs of brothers and sisters-in-law very much, and she also disliked the nieces and nephews from her mother's family. Until now, she still remembered the past when Dabao, Erbao, and Danny took advantage of their mother's plunder while she was not at home, especially that Dabao and Erbao ate the cornbread he left for his sister, not to mention that Dabao even pushed his sister down. How to repay kindness with kindness? Lu Zhang thought for a while. My name is Feng Qinghe. He is the second son. He should be the second treasure you mentioned. He is 18 years old this year. Yes, it's the second treasure. Feng Qingxiu frowned. Who gave the name? Do you understand the rules? Although Qing and Qing have the same pronunciation but different words, they shouldn't use this name. The original name of Qinlaozi is it's called Feng Qinglei. How many people today are particular about not violating the taboo of naming their elders when choosing names? In the eyes of many people, that is old thinking and old culture. Feng Qingxiu disagreed with this statement. She is born in the 1990s, and her parents still followed the rules of the old family when naming her. They chose her according to her seniority and did not violate the taboos of the elders. Many people in rural areas who are not well educated will also pay attention to this when naming their children and grandchildren. Lu Zhang smiled and said, okay, let's not mention this. By the way, why did uncle give you such a soft name in the first place? In the eyes of many people, the name is a bit frivolous. Some people suggested that he change Feng Qingxiu's name. Even if it removes the word Qing, it will be more solemn. However, Lu Zhang always goes in one ear and out the other. After so many years of name change, he has changed it. What's the point? He just thinks the name Feng Qingxiu is very nice, the snow is floating in the wind, as light as catkins. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1622. Not only did he change his name, but someone also suggested to him that Feng Qingxiu cut his hair. They believe that long hair is cumbersome and represents old ideas and culture. It is not as lean and light as short hair, which is convenient for training and work. The first thing many female soldiers do when they join the army is to be forced to have a haircut. Even if they keep their hair, it is only long enough to tie 2.5 hairs. A braid about a foot long. Lu Zhang was too lazy to pay attention. With his ability, he could still keep his wife's name and hair. Feng Qingxiu also knew these two things and almost laughed out loud. The rules were too lenient. Skirts could not be worn and hair could not be grown. We could wear cheongsam and braggy more than 10 or 20 years ago, but now we can only wear them. Long pants, long sleeves, and shorts are not allowed on the upper body. I don't know why my uncle chose these names. Thunder, rain, snow, and clouds are all related to the weather. However, according to seniority, our generation seems to be the younger generation. If you want to complain, just blame the ancestors of the Feng family for not listing seniority enough. Noble, dignified, and cultured. Many girls only have nicknames and are not named according to their seniority, just like Hongling. Feng Qingxiu herself doesn't care about how the Feng family's seniority is arranged. Lu Zhang naturally won't continue to ask, let's not mention it, it's boring to mention it, but you, my nephew, do you want to meet him? No, Feng Qingxiu replied categorically, I have nothing to do with him, so why meet? Xiaoyun and I will probably never forget what those two brothers and sisters did in our lives. Since he joined the army, an excellent recruit, it shows that I am very capable. Let's continue to rely on ourselves from now on. We will not interfere, do not obstruct or support, let it take its course. Sometimes we can't talk so much. The couple walked around the camp and were about to leave. They met a company of recruits who were running with heavy loads. The leader was Feng Qinghe. With his thick eyebrows and heroic appearance, he stood out among the new recruits. Hello, leader, the recruits stood at attention and saluted, as if they were flowing smoothly. Their etiquette was extremely standard. Lu Zhang returned the salute and said, continue training. Yes. The recruit company continued to move forward. Feng Qinghe suppressed the curiosity in his heart and did not look back. However, he still noticed the looks of Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu. He couldn't believe that his aunt was already in her 30s and she still looked like she was 18 or 19 years old. The same girl. After the training, it was rest time. Qinghe sat down and heard someone around him say, did you see it? It's the army commander and his revolutionary partner. I didn't expect that there would be such a young army officer at such an old age. There is an age difference of 20 years among our revolutionary comrades, right? But I seem to have heard that the army commander has 5 children. Could it be that this revolutionary partner married later? Shania was in charge of their training and gave him a slap on the back of the head. What are you talking about? Why did you marry first and then marry later? Our army commander has always been a revolutionary comrade. The speaker's name was Yu Zihao. He touched the back of his head and said, it doesn't look like him at all. Don't you just want to say that the army commander and my sister-in-law look very different in age? Shania rolled his eyes at him. Actually, they are not as big as they look. My sister-in-law is over 30 this year, but she doesn't look old. Then our army commander is really lucky his wife is so young and beautiful, she is the most beautiful person Yu Zihao has ever seen. After saying this, Yu Zihao turned to Feng Qinghe, hey, by the way, Qinghe, I remember you are from Huihei City, right? You and Chief Lu are from the same hometown, right? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1623. King He had been silently listening to his comrades chatting, but he did not expect that the topic would turn to himself. His place of origin could not be concealed. He thought for a while and replied, "Our Huihe city is a battleground for military strategists. There are many important figures in our country and the world. Marshal Wang and the army chief are all from our Huihe city. Our Huihe city secretary Zhao was also a hero who changed his career due to a broken arm, so I kept learning from them and joined the army as I wished." After hearing what he said, several people gathered around. "So, your Huihe city is full of heroes and outstanding people. No wonder you work so hard, because you have a learning goal. Well done." There was a lot of chatter, and soon no one asked whether he and Lu Zhang were from the same hometown. King He breathed a sigh of relief quietly in his heart, looked in the direction of the camp gate, and silently cheered himself up. He must work harder and harder. Even if he can't recognize his aunt and uncle, he can't embarrass them. He doesn't want anyone to mention him as Feng Qingxiu and Lu Jiang's nephew after they know about his relationship with them. I hope that with my own efforts, others will say that Lu Jiang and his wife are Feng Qinghe's aunt and uncle. Suddenly feeling pain in his shoulder, Shinio sat down next to him. "Where are you from in Huihe city? What's going on at home? I think there should be information about me in the registration, right? If the composition is not good, it is difficult to have the opportunity to join the army. Every military quota must ensure the loyalty of the soldiers." Along the way, King He has seen many problems due to composition problems. Those who failed the conscription requirements were all in tears. Only one of them severed ties with his parents and was able to join the army. Shinio smiled and asked without answering, "Is your surname Feng?" King He immediately said cautiously, "There are several people named Feng in our recruit company. Is there any problem?" "No problem, no problem. I just felt that the name sounded too similar to Feng Qingxiu's, and when 99% of the time they were discussing Lu Zhang and his wife, Qing He's silence seemed a bit out of place." "It's okay, I thought my surname was a crime." King He felt relieved. Shinio laughed, "Our army is not like outside, so it is a great blessing to be in the army. The storms outside are noisy year after year. The most peaceful place is probably the field troops. No one dares to put their hands here, which ensures the personal safety of many people." King He hummed lowly and made no comment. Shinio likes his calm and cautious spirit. He doesn't talk much, but he knows what he knows. He has excellent physical fitness, flexible mind, and is the best in target shooting. He is suitable to be a sniper. Lu Zhang told him to pay close attention to the recruits this time. There are several seedlings, and King He is one of them. "Do you value him so much?" Feng Qingxiu asked. Lu Zhang looked up at the blue sky and the erratic white clouds, then looked down at the yellowing turf at his feet. He then looked at his wife's face, as bright as a pearl, and said in a deep voice, "He is a sniper seedling. I missed it, pity." Feng Qingxiu nodded, "Since you think it's good, then train hard." "You don't care?" Lu Zhang asked. "What is there to care about? I won't offend anyone unless they offend me. He is an honest soldier and works diligently. If I cut off his path to success, wouldn't I be a big evil person? He has the ability and is quite good. After struggling, I guess his family will be annoyed by him, so they won't bother us." Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1624. Based on past memories, Feng Qingxiu felt that she knew the two pairs of brothers and sisters very well, the first, second, third, and fourth ones who followed the trend. Her husband and wife had been away from home for a long time and did not know the situation of the Kahua Brigade. However, at the beginning of the year, she received a remittance slip and letter from Wang Zhenqiu. There are many mentions of the two pairs of brothers and sisters taking advantage of the opportunity to socialize with others to gain benefits. As the nephew and niece of the army commander's wife, Dabeo wants to marry an educated youth from the capital, while Danny is already married to a city dweller. Feng Teng told Wang Zhenqiu, and Wang Zhenqiu told his niece. At the same time, he also stated in the letter that he would pay attention to the situation of the two nephews' families. If they dared to bully others, he would definitely intervene to solve the problem. Is it easy for the niece and nephew-in-law to struggle to this day? You can't let your natal family, who you don't have any contact with, hold you back. Compared to his two nephews, Wang Zhenqiu regards Feng Qingxiu as his own daughter. He has also received a lot of filial respect from his two nieces in recent years. Who wouldn't envy her? It seems that Wang Jiao is no longer a kisser. Feng Qingxiu was open-minded, and Lu Zhang kept praising her, making her smile like a flower branch trembling. Look what you said, if I don't agree, will you exclude him from the selection? Lu Zhang immediately said, that won't work. Public is public and private is private. We can't affect the country's development plan for our own selfishness. However, your generosity and kindness make this matter proceed more calmly. Make this go more smoothly? Feng Qingxiu didn't understand what he meant for a while. Okay, this is over, she gestured, let's go out for a walk and learn more. Don't always talk about your work in the army. It's rare for me to take a vacation, so just let me relax. Moon. After working hard for a year, she finally got a vacation. Feng Qingxiu enjoyed the leisurely vacation very much. Lu Zhang has not taken a vacation for a long time, but he is in charge of the entire army. Unless there is no job in the army, it will be difficult for him to find an opportunity to take a vacation. After thinking about it, he swallowed some of the words that came to his lips and changed his words abruptly. Said, after Chiu is busy, it's time for Dad and Zibao to come. Are you happy? I'm happy, of course I'm happy. Who doesn't love their children? I really want the family to be reunited and never be separated. When they were talking about these two lines of conversation, Deputy Army Commander Lu Zhenqiu passed by them and said with a smile, Comrade Lu, Comrade Qingxiu, if you think so, why don't you bring the old people and children over to live together? Lu Zhang shook his head, in a few years, even if the elderly are unwilling, they will be taken to their side. Why not now? Lu Zhenqiu asked strangely. Feng Qingxiu said with a smile, because my father-in-law can't let go of his hometown. Zibao has also been studying in his hometown. His parents and fellow villagers all like him and they can't bear to see him stay away from home every year. His popularity is much better than that of Lu Zhang and I. Lu Zhenqiu was confused. Anyway, you and the other children are in the army. We are defending our country. Don't we just hope that all the fellow villagers can be reunited as a family and never be separated? Only Zibao is left alone to accompany the elderly in his hometown. It's not a big deal, I might blame you when I grow up. Feng Qingxiu looked at Lu Zhang. In fact, she had also thought about this problem. Lu Zhang said seriously, this is Zibao's own request. As adults, we should respect every one of his ideas. Moreover, Zibao is very well behaved and sensible, and will not resent us for this. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1625. The most important thing is that Lu Zhang has his own plans in mind. After separating from Lu Zhenqiu, Feng Qingxiu frowned with two slender and curved eyebrows. Zibao was very young when he made the decision. We agreed to his request and let him stay in his hometown to study with a group of old men and old ladies. But when we were growing up, we were not together with our parents and siblings, and we did not go to school normally. Over time, there will be a gap between us. Do you think so? Lu Jiang asked without answering. Feng Qingxiu recalled that Zibao was very close to her every time he came, and there were 2 or 3 letters exchanged every month. There was no gap between words, deeds, and words, but she still worried about gains and losses. I don't know, that's why I'm asking you. Lu Jiang held his wife's hand, not caring about the surprised looks of people passing by, and comforted him. I don't think so, because our Zibao is the best child in the world, bar none. He actually had a manly exchange with his son in which he asked the question. Zibao's answer is no, because except for the busy farming season, his time in his hometown is filled with learning and he has no time to think about anything else. He just wants to learn more knowledge. There is so much knowledge, and he only has a glimpse of it, so he can only redouble his efforts. When you grow up, learn to use it, and you will soon have your own career. When Dad gets old, it will be his turn to protect Mom. Dad, now the responsibility of protecting my mother is given to you. When I grow up, you can retire. These were Zibao's original words. In his heart, his mother's status was obviously higher than anything else. After listening to her husband's memories, Feng Qingxiu's eyes suddenly turned red, and her eyes sparkled. My Zibao is so good, why didn't I listen to you? A voice of complaint immediately spit out from her pink lips. Feng Qingxiu still felt that it was not enough, and even withdrew her hand and patted Lu Jiang's arm hard. 5 Among the children, we once neglected Dun Dun, and in recent years we have neglected Zibao, allowing him to travel between places at a young age. What a failure we have done as parents. Lu Jiang grabbed her hand and held it tight. No, I don't think we failed. After seeing more, I think we are very successful, because our 5 children have their own characteristics, are equally cute, and have very good character. You have been busy with work, and you may not have noticed that some people use sticks to educate their children, and this is especially obvious in the military compound. There is no boy who hasn't received a few beatings. Feng Qingxiu frowned. Is there such a thing? Unless Lu Er's bare skin makes people angry, she won't touch a finger on the child. Educating children can never be done well by hitting them. Sometimes, it is easy for children to become rebellious. Of course, sometimes a spank is also useful to make the child remember. We are not allowed to talk about other people's affairs. We just need to take care of our own children. The most satisfying thing in life is not to be successful, but to have a wife and children. There was a deep smile in Lu Jiang's eyes, and the pride revealed was clearly visible. After Lu Jiang explained this, Feng Qingxiu's gloomy eyebrows lightened slightly. By the way, you just said that we would live together in a few years. Yes, at most 3 or 4 years, and after 2 years, we will send our 3 uncles, 3 aunts, and several children back to our hometown, and then we will bring them back during the Chinese New Year. From now on, our family will not be separated. Feng Qingxiu's heart skipped a beat as she thought of the earthquake in Tang City. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1626. Lu Jiang saw his wife's expression, nodded and said, as you think. The earthquake occurred in 1976, only 3 years ago. I still remember the tragic death of hundreds of thousands of people in the history books. The economic losses were as high as 10 billion, which directly affected the development of the local area. Lu Jiang was already making various preparations. He is a soldier and a soldier of the country. He cannot turn a blind eye and allow tragedies to happen without doing anything. Feng Qingxiu bit her slightly white lips and swallowed. Yes, we have to send the elderly and children home. Although the earthquake occurred in Tang City, the earthquake would be clearly felt in the adjacent capital and Wuchen. Not to mention Lu Jiang, even Feng Qingxiu did not dare to take the risk. In addition to his own children, Lu Tianjun and Guanzhen's sons also, they had to be sent home and brought back when everything was over. The next thing the couple had to face was how to save hundreds of thousands of lives. Saving one life is better than building a 7-level pagoda, let alone hundreds of thousands of lives. Feng Qingxiu always thought that her mission in time travel was to ensure Lu Jiang's health and have her own love and marriage. It was not until this moment that she understood the burden that the prophet had placed on her. If she knew there was such a disaster and did nothing, even she would despise herself. Lu Jiang cares about his family and country, so he planned a solution for the earthquake 3 years later so early, and at the same time he thought of arranging for his family. Lu Jiang patted the back of her hand. There are still almost 3 years left, enough for us to plan. Don't worry, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Last year, my transfer to Wuchen was as I wished. It's close and convenient. This year in February, an earthquake occurred in the Sichuan Tibetan area, which has been perfectly resolved. Why haven't I heard you say that? If she hadn't read the newspaper, Feng Qingxiu wouldn't have known that a 7.9 magnitude earthquake had occurred there. Lu Jiang smiled lowly. I saw it in a book of national events. It was just one sentence. You were so busy that you probably didn't pay attention. Feng Qingxiu asked him how he solved it. Lu Jiang wanted to sell it off and said, you will know it in the future, but depending on the region and the architectural style, the methods used may not be suitable for other places. Feng Qingxiu understood that the Tang City earthquake might not necessarily be solved with the same method. Just when he was about to ask what the method was, he saw Lu Ran trotting over. There's a letter from abroad. Is it Xiaoyun's letter? Feng Qingxiu was very happy and pulled Lu Jiang to speed up his return. Feng Qingyun went abroad as she wished in the spring, to study at a music conservatory in Paris, France, but it was not at public expense. Although Li Jiaoyang was responsible for Feng Qingyun's tuition and living expenses, Feng Qingxiu secretly handed her a small box before her sister left. Gold and art are particularly expensive. Exchanging RMB for foreign exchange is too large and attracts attention. It is more convenient to carry some gold with you. Gold is a hard currency circulating internationally, and the international price of gold is much higher than the purchase price of domestic banks. Feng Qingxiu thought this way, and when she saw the letter, she knew it was not from Feng Qingyun. It was a thick letter, and there were international medical newspapers and periodicals. It was a reply to her submission. When she sends letters abroad, the postage is calculated by the gram, which is very expensive. She doesn't know how to calculate the postage when sending letters from abroad. After opening the letter, Feng Qingxiu was surprised to find that she was invited by a foreign medical university to participate in a medical exchange meeting, which would be held next year. August is a new beginning, and we will work hard to ensure updates, and 400,000 yuan will be opened. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1627. International Medical Exchange Meeting? Can't even think about it? Feng Qingxiu held the invitation letter that was sent with the letter and felt a little flattered. Although she has always worked hard, studied hard, and worked hard to accumulate experience, she has always believed that she is an ordinary person, a relatively diligent ordinary person. Diligence can make up for her shortcomings, and the stupid bird will fly first. Lu Jiang stretched out his head and looked at it, but he didn't understand the words on it. What did you say that surprised you like this? Lu Jiang felt that it shouldn't be bad news. If it was bad news, his wife's face must have changed long ago, and you could tell at a glance. Feng Qingxiu read the contents of the invitation letter to Lu Jiang and watched Lu Jiang's reaction with black and white eyes. Medical exchange meeting? What a good thing. Lu Jiang slapped his thigh. The establishment of diplomatic relations between our country and other countries has initially achieved results. My little girls have the opportunity to study abroad. Why can't you participate in the medical exchange meeting? Go, not only do you have to go, but you also have to get put on a show of strength, show off your knowledge and grace, and change foreign countries' impression of our country's poverty and backwardness. Feng Qingxiu's lips raised a delicate and beautiful curve, and she couldn't help but say, it's not easy for Xiaoyun to go abroad. If it weren't for Mr. Smith's help and the wrong family behind it, things wouldn't have gone so smoothly. Some people are eager to go abroad, while others are afraid of going abroad. In recent years, those with overseas connections have suffered a lot. Of course, unlike in the past, the country has gradually opened up to the outside world and improved the country's international status. Isn't it right for the wrong family to contribute? Xiaoyun is their daughter-in-law. They feel that they owe Jiaoyang too much. Now that Jiaoyang is about to be established and does not need their support, they have no way to compensate them. They can only be nice to their little sister. Make Jiaoyang happy. Men understand men's psychology best, and the wrong family is smart enough. Therefore, Feng Qingxiu was a little more satisfied with the wrong family and Li Jiaoyang. It's pretty good. The younger sister has her own life, love, and marriage. She, the older sister, has finally fulfilled her responsibilities to her younger sister, and the future will be entirely managed by her younger sister. Yes, it's good. Everyone is doing well. Lu Zhang also cares about the children at home. Feng Qingxiu changed the topic and asked, do you really want me to participate in this medical exchange meeting? Of course. Seize the opportunity and go out and gain experience. We can't be like frogs in a well, with only one world in our eyes. Didn't you say that your medical skills have stagnated? In addition to the old professor at the hospital saying that you lack experience, there is also Western medicine in our country. The reason why the level is indeed lagging behind that of foreign countries, Lu Zhang said. Generally speaking, medical exchange conferences have some content reports on clinical trial results and scientific research results, and we also have a development goal in Western medicine. After hearing this, Feng Qingxiu sighed, I can't let go of the child. Lu Zhang smiled at her and said, the children are grown up and they have someone to take care of them. Why can't they let go? Moreover, the medical exchange meeting is not about studying abroad for further study. You will go there for 3 to 5 years. He supports his wife's studies and fully supports her. Qingxiu had never noticed how bright her eyes would be when given the opportunity to study, like stars in the night sky. Medical exchange meetings are actually academic seminars, usually lasting 2 to 3 days. The invitation letter stated the date and duration of the meeting. I just feel that it may not be possible. How can it be so easy to go abroad? If you want to go, you have to apply, right? If the application is not approved, everything will be in vain. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1628. Lu Zhang directly asked his wife to handle it for him. He still had this ability. Jiang, thank you. Feng Qingxiu's eyes sparkled. Lu Zhang immediately saw the 2 twinkling stars and couldn't help but smile. As expected, he did not break his promise. After Feng Qingxiu completed the application report and submitted it, he received the approval within a few days. Because Feng Qingxiu received the invitation alone, not a medical institution, she had to bear all the expenses herself. They did not make any publicity, and this incident did not cause any waves in the army. After collecting the invitation letter, Feng Qingxiu had no time to enjoy the leisurely vacation. Instead, she organized the information she had accumulated and actively prepared to participate in the exchange meeting. Regardless of whether she would have the opportunity to speak on stage, she focused on the theme of this exchange meeting. You must come up with useful content instead of saying nothing in front of people. It was not an international level medical seminar, but an exchange meeting on diabetes prevention, treatment, foxcare, etc. hosted by the university itself. The reason why Feng Qingxiu was invited was probably because she had published a paper on diabetes. The highest level seminars in the field of diabetes research in the world are generally hosted by the Diabetes Association. Fu Bao peered at his mother, who was writing at the desk. Her hair was spread behind her shoulders, her face was smooth and white, her posture was upright, and her serious look was very good looking. She scratched her chin, which was the same as her mother's, and was about to exit when Feng Qingxue noticed it, raised her head and stopped writing. "What's the matter?" "Fu Bao." Fu Bao came in and said, "Mom, did I bother you?" "No, Mom is on vacation and doesn't have to work." Feng Qingxiu denied that she was busy. "If you have anything, you can tell Mom." Fu Bao groaned and took out an old red sweater from behind. Feng Qingxiu recognized it as Fu Bao's gift to Lu Beizu. "Didn't you give it to Lu Beizu? Why did you take it back? Beizu has grown a lot, and this sweater is a little too small for her. The cuffs are a little short and tight, but her grandma doesn't want to buy a new sweater or knit a sweater for her, but wants to take apart the sweater to knit a sweater for Lu Yanyan. This sweater is made of wool, and Fu Bao likes it very much." If Bao Zhu had not had anything to wear, she would have asked her mother to take it apart and add some thread and knit one for herself. The quality of domestic products is very good. The sweater has been worn for 2 or 3 years and the color is still very bright. There is only slight wear on the elbows and cuffs. Feng Qingxiu took the sweater in her hand. "Do you want Mom to take it apart, add some threads, and then knit it out for the orb?" "Mom is so smart," Fu Bao praised highly, his eyes shining brightly. "She has a delicate face and big eyes, just like a little princess." The more Feng Qingxiu looks at her, the more she likes her. What makes her most gratified is that her daughter is kind, cute and considerate, without any willful or unruly habits. "Mom can help you, but you need to agree to one condition: don't develop your daughter's temperament of getting something for nothing." Fu Bao immediately agreed, wanting a ball of yarn. "I'm very good at it." Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, "Mom will help you unwrap and knit Beizu's sweater, add new threads, and wash and dry the removed wool. Isn't it your duty to help Mom wrap the yarn balls?" Fu Bao touched his pigtails and asked, "What are the conditions?" Feng Qingxiu thought for a while, but before she could figure out her conditions, Lu Zhang walked in. "What are you two talking about? There are no conditions. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1629. Fu Bao immediately told Lu Zhang about this, and his voice was delicate and clear, like a series of jade beads that were broken and then fell into the jade plate, which was very pleasant to the ear. Lu Zhang highly recognized his daughter's behavior and praised, "Fu Bao is so good. Fu Bao's smile is as bright as a flower, cute and cute." Speaking of Beizu, how is she doing in the Lu family? Lu Zhang was busy with work and spent all his remaining time with his family. He really had no time to pay attention to Lu Beizu's life after returning to the Lu family. Feng Qingxiu replied, "I'm not sure. Beizu came to play at our house yesterday, and it seems he's adapted well." "It's not good at all, Mom and Dad," Fu Bao interjected. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu asked for the reason, and Fu Bao answered truthfully. It turned out that everyone in the Lu family except Lu Zhenqiu did not welcome Lu Beizu's arrival. The 8 children of 2 generations isolated her, and her grandmother Wangijin also ignored her. Their nanny naturally takes care of the dishes. If Lu Beizu didn't have Fu Bao as a good friend and a relatively tough character, he would have collapsed long ago. Fu Bao sighed like an adult. Although Uncle Lu treats her well, he is often away from home and can't control the family's attitude towards Baozu, so Baozu always eats out now. Lu Zhang suddenly frowned. "Eat out?" The implication is that the Lu family will not prepare meals for Lu Beizu. I see that Bezo has grown a lot taller than when he first came here. There is also some flesh on his face. He is no longer skinny and bones. Did he eat it outside? Feng Qingxiu said. She only saw these changes in Bezu. Pay special attention. Fu Bao pulled a chair for Lu Zhang to sit on, and then he lay on the back of the chair and said disapprovingly, "You gain weight just by eating outside. When Bezu is at home and Uncle Lu is not, it is difficult for their family to cook. They eat dried sweet potato porridge with pickles, or eat wautu, which is very throat irritating, and occasionally make a bowl of boiled vegetables. Their children don't eat much. They open a small stove in the back to eat steamed buns and rice, and eat meat every now and then. There are no orbs." Later, Uncle Lu found out and lost his temper. He gave her some money and food stamps every month. She even brought me a meat bun the day before yesterday. There are so many children in the Lu family, but the food is so good. Open a small stove and eat steamed buns and rice every day, with the support of space supplies and grain and oil purchased with overseas remittance coupons, but with guards and orderlies around. The Lu family did not dare to eat like this, often a combination of thickness and thickness. Fu Bao put his arms around Lu Jiang's neck from behind. "We don't eat like this every day. There are times when Uncle Lu is at home. When Uncle Lu is at home, their whole family eats the same thing, with Bezu's portion and no Xiaozao. The Lu family's all people except Uncle Lu are good and bad. Bezu's grandma wanted to take apart the sweater I gave to Bezu to knit a sweater for her daughter. Lu Yanyan also threw the clothes she changed into for Bezu to wash, so Bezu had to do it when Uncle Lu was not at home. After washing it, under the influence of a villain like you, Bezu is not one to swallow his anger." Feng Qingxiu said, "Her daughter is a scumbag, but luckily she has nothing wrong with her, and she only wanted to help Lu Bezu." Fu Bao said with a smile, "Uncle Lu found out, Lu Yanyan got a slap in the face, and no one can use the orb anymore. If the Lu family were nice to Baozu, it would be fine if Baozu worked harder to please them. After all, Baozu came to their house halfway, but they were so bad, so of course they couldn't condone her, as connivance would only make them push their limits." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1630. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu felt relieved knowing that although Lu Bezu was not popular in the Lu family, he was living a good life. Bezu has a good personality, she will protect herself and not suffer any disadvantages. Feng Qingxiu likes her better. She is cuter than those poor little ones who have been bullied and endured all the time. The next step is to prevent her from growing crooked. As long as you don't hurt others, being scheming is not a sin, but a way to protect yourself. After his daughter left, Lu Zhang looked through the information on the table and saw densely packed papers written in foreign languages next to him. There are still several months until the medical exchange meeting. Don't push yourself too hard. Don't fight an unprepared battle. It's better to prepare early than to improvise. Feng Qingxiu is used to this kind of planning. Lu Zhang knew that what he said was useless, so he stopped. Anyway, he knew that his wife knew what she was thinking. But at this moment, he heard his wife say, "Don't just talk about me. Don't you have a plan for doing things yourself? You are busy. That day when I came back to read the letter, I forgot to ask you, how did you solve the earthquake in Sichuan Tibetan area?" Lu Zhang laughed, "I didn't show up, how could any news come through? To be honest, don't hide it from me." Feng Qingxiu remembered that the earthquake happened around the Spring Festival, and it mainly caused some property damage, but not too many casualties, so she did not continue to pay attention. Lu Zhang spread his hands. "Just a few days before the earthquake, I made a suggestion to them to conduct a nationwide military training. There would be multiple people in charge of the training separately, and they would gather suddenly from time to time. I set a few time points for them. We gather once a day at a certain time, and there is a time when the earthquake occurs. I am not there, so it is difficult to ensure the safety of everyone, so I can only do my best to obey fate. Fortunately, the area is sparsely populated, and the houses are not dense. It's a brick-and-mortar structure with few casualties, and no one will take my suggestion seriously. Feng Qingxiu's eyes were bright. Can you imitate me? Lu Zhang shook his head, and when Feng Qingxiu saw this, the light in his eyes suddenly disappeared. Isn't it possible? Why? How will we solve it then? Tang City is an industrial city with hundreds of thousands of residents. It is difficult to carry out mass military training. Even if it is done, only some government agencies and factories can organize it. Lu Zhang couldn't bear to see his wife's disappointment and finished in a low voice. Then he said, the boat will naturally go straight when it reaches the bridge. We know the specific time of this disaster, so there must be a solution. He already had a rough plan in mind, but it was hard to tell until he was there. Feng Qingxiu slowly exhaled a long breath and whispered, you are right, we have time to come up with a better way. So you knit Beizu's sweater first? No, no, if you are too busy, entrust the knitting of the sweater to others. There are quite a few idle military wives in our compound. Is it okay to ask them to knit a sweater? What's the point of being embarrassed? Lu Zhang still didn't want his wife to blame everything on him, as that would be too tiring. Feng Qingxiu shook her head and said, I have to fulfill my promise to Fu Bao. The weather was getting cold very quickly. She now wore a sweater in the morning and evening, and occasionally had to add a military jacket. So she put down the materials she was organizing, dismantled the old sweater, washed the wool, dried it in the sun, and twisted it into wool with the help of her daughter. Ball, knitted sweater.